I was midway through my third set of squats, sweat dripping down my temple, when I felt it, a firm hand gripping my hip. I froze, my muscles tight, the barbell still resting on my shoulders. My heart skipped a beat, not from exertion, but from shock. "Your form's off," a male voice said, too close, too confident. I turned my head slightly, and there he was, a guy in his mid-30s, wearing a tank top that screamed, "I spend more time staring at myself in the mirror than actually working out." His hand was still on me. "Excuse me?" I said, my voice low but sharp. I stepped out from under the barbell, letting it rest on the rack, and faced him fully. "You're leaning too far forward," he said, oblivious or maybe just indifferent to the fact that he'd crossed a line. "Here, let me show you." Before I could react, he stepped closer, his hands hovering near my hips again like he owned them. My skin crawled. "Don't touch me," I snapped, stepping back and holding up a hand. "And don't ever interrupt someone mid-set. It's dangerous." He smirked like I was being dramatic. "Relax, I'm just trying to help. You're gonna hurt yourself if you don't fix your form." "I didn't ask for your help," I shot back, my voice rising. "And unless you're a certified trainer, keep your advice to yourself." The gym's atmosphere shifted. Heads turned. The clanking of weights slowed as people paused their workouts to watch the scene unfolding. He raised his hands in mock surrender, but his tone was dripping with condescension. "All right, princess, just trying to be nice. Maybe you're not used to guys paying attention to you." Oh, hell no. My blood boiled. This wasn't about my form. This wasn't about being helpful. It was about him asserting dominance, about him thinking he had the right to invade my space under the guise of helping. "I don't need your attention," I said, my voice steady despite the anger coursing through me. "And I definitely don't need your hands on me. Get out of my space." He rolled his eyes and muttered something under his breath, but he finally walked away. I watched him go, my fists clenched, my mind racing. This wasn't over. I wasn't about to let this slide. I grabbed my water bottle and headed straight to the front desk. A guy like him didn't deserve to share the same space as people who were here to work hard and focus on themselves. The gym manager, a woman named Jess, who I'd spoken to a few times before, was behind the counter. She took one look at me and knew something was wrong. "What happened?" she asked, concerned, etching her features. I took a deep breath and told her everything. The unsolicited correction, the unwelcome touch, the condescension, the disrespect. By the time I finished, I had her full attention. "We have cameras," she said, already moving toward the security system. "Let's take a look." We pulled up the footage, and there it was, clear as day. Him approaching me mid-squat, his hands on my hips, me stepping back, the confrontation. Jess's expression darkened. "That's more than enough," she said firmly. "He's done." Less than 10 minutes later, Jess approached the guy who was now lounging on a bench press. She handed him a piece of paper, his termination of membership form, and told him he was banned. The look on his face was priceless. Shock, anger, and finally humiliation. He tried to argue, but Jess wasn't having it. "You don't touch people without their consent," she said, her voice cutting through his protests. End of story. As he gathered his things and left, I felt a surge of satisfaction. Justice served. But as I returned to my workout, I couldn't shake the unease that lingered. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened in a gym, and it wouldn't be the last. Still, I'd made my point loud and clear. Respect my space or get the hell out. Game over, creep.
The gym buzzed with its usual energy the next day. Weights clanging, treadmills humming, and the occasional grunt of effort. I walked in wearing my signature bright pink set, my ponytail bouncing with every step, ready to dominate my leg day. But there was a knot in my stomach I couldn't shake. What if he came back? Jess had banned him, sure, but guys like him had a way of slipping through cracks. Still, I wasn't going to let some creep intimidate me out of my routine. I warmed up, stretched, and headed to the squat rack. I was halfway through my second set when I felt it again, that unmistakable sense of someone watching me. My chest tightened as I racked the barbell and turned around. And there he was, standing just a few feet away, arms crossed, wearing the same smug expression. My heart hammered in my chest. "You're not supposed to be here," I said, my voice steady despite the anger bubbling inside me. He shrugged. "I paid for my membership. They can't just kick me out because you overreacted." "Overreacted?" I snapped, stepping closer. "That's a violation." He smirked, leaning against a nearby machine. "You know, you're making a big deal out of nothing. Maybe you should learn to take a compliment." "This isn't a compliment. It's harassment. And if you don't leave right now, I'm calling the manager again." He rolled his eyes and muttered something under his breath, but he didn't budge. Instead, he pulled out his phone and started recording me. "Say hi to my followers," he said, grinning like he'd just won some twisted game. My skin crawled. This wasn't just about him being creepy anymore. This was about him trying to humiliate me, to make me feel small. "Put the phone down," I demanded, my voice sharp. "Why? Afraid your little meltdown will go viral?" He taunted, zooming in on my face. That was it. I didn't care about the cameras or the other gym goers watching me. I didn't care about being polite. I marched straight to the front desk where Jess was already on her feet, her eyes wide with concern. "He's back," I said, pointing toward the squat rack, "and he's recording me. You need to handle this. Now." Jess didn't hesitate. She grabbed her walkie-talkie and called security, then stormed toward the squat rack with me, trailing behind her. The creep was still standing there, phone in hand, grinning like he owned the place. "Sir," Jess said, her voice icy, "you were told yesterday that your membership is terminated. You're trespassing. Leave now or I'll have security forcibly remove you." He laughed, but it was shaky, like he was starting to realize he'd messed up. "You can't do that." "Yes, I can," Jess said, stepping closer, "and I will." Security arrived, two burly guys who looked like they could bench press a car. The creep's bravado crumbled as they escorted him out, his phone still clutched in his hand. I watched him go, my chest heaving, my hands still clenched into fists. Jess turned to me, her expression softening. "Are you okay?" I nodded, though I didn't feel okay, not yet. "I'm going to make sure he doesn't come back," she promised. "And if he does, I'll press charges." "Thank you," I said, my voice cracking slightly. I returned to my workout, but my heart wasn't in it. The gym didn't feel like a safe space anymore. But I wasn't going to let him win. As I left that day, I made a mental note to file a formal complaint with the gym's corporate office. Men like him didn't deserve access to places where people were just trying to better themselves. And if they didn't take it seriously, I'd make sure they regretted it. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about every woman who'd ever felt unsafe in a gym and every creep who thought they could get away with it. Game over, indeed.